Let's go to Tony Birtley, who's in Benghazi in the east. Tony, I mean, does it feel as though we're getting to some kind of tipping point here?
It's very hard to say, Shuli. I mean, there's a tremendous disappointment about the failure to introduce a no-fly zone. They were counting on that, they were hoping on that, but now they do have contingency plans they're going to carry on. There is a tipping point, I think. But also they are buoyed by the fact now they've just appointed a new army chief, a man who was a friend of Gaddafi. He has got a lot of experience and he's got 8,000 fighters. So they have men and they have a little bit more of an organisation now. They realise this probably is going to go on for the long haul. But I think there's no immediate threat to places like Benghazi, for example, although the fighting is still raging about 250 kilometres from here.
OK, Tony, thanks for that update. Tony Birtley in Benghazi there. Let's go to our correspondent Barnaby Phillips, who's in Paris. Now, Barnaby, that's where the G8 meeting is taking place, and there doesn't seem to be much consensus on this idea of a no-fly zone in Libya.
No, certainly not, Shuli. I think disappointment for the French host, Alain Juppé, the French foreign minister, as you were saying, admitting even before this meeting has begun that he's struggling to find consensus. He does have support from the British. William Hague, the British Foreign Secretary, seems to be close in position to where the French are, at the hawkish end, if you like, of the G8 spectrum. But then there are the sceptics, and they range from traditional sceptics, the Russians, perhaps as you would expect, but also countries like Canada and, crucially, the United States, of course, still very much sitting on the fence and not yet convinced that a no-fly zone is in their interests or will produce the best possible outcome as far as they are concerned in Libya.
Now, I gather that Hillary Clinton, the US Secretary of State, has been meeting with Libyan opposition members in Paris. Tell us about the US position on them.
Well, I think that meeting was important. She sat down with Mahmoud Jibril of the Opposition National Council for some 45 minutes here in Paris last night. That is the highest level meeting between the Libyan opposition and the United States. And obviously the United States is key to any action if it were to develop in Libya. I think from the American point of view, they have always had a certain amount of doubt that is shared probably by other countries in the West as to who exactly this opposition is, what its motives are, what kind of Libya it would like to see, and who exactly it represents. And perhaps United States concerns in that regard have been eased somewhat by that meeting. But I think the Americans are still very worried about the overall Arab position, if you like. They want to be absolutely sure before they commit themselves to any form of action that may lead to some sort of military involvement. They want to be absolutely sure that there is Arab support. I know that they did, of course, hear the news, obviously, of that Arab League endorsement of a no-fly zone. But I think people in the American delegation were also curious, if you like, by the other announcement that came out of that Arab League meeting, saying that there should not be foreign military interference in Libya. And the Americans don't quite see how those two square up, if you like, and they'll be looking for reassurances. Hillary Clinton moving on from Paris to Cairo later today, and I think that will be important for the Americans. So still, in short, many doubts, a lot of talk undoubtedly here in Paris over the last 2 days, but I don't think we're anywhere near yet any concrete decisions.